Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
The MidMichigan Environmental Action Council, or MidMEAC, is doing amazing things in our community. Here to share their mission and the many ways that they work to make our communities cleaner and more safe for us to live in is Executive Director Theresa Lark and member of the Communications Committee, Ken Hall. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I talked a little bit about this off mic, but I'm a little embarrassed to say that I was unfamiliar with your organization until recently, but I attended one of your events and then scoured your website. And I just really felt compelled to tell your story because you're doing amazing things that maybe our residents don't know about, and it's important that we broadcast that. So I appreciate you joining me here today.
Oh, thank you for having us.
So what is the mission of MidMEAC, and how did it get founded? Why did it get founded? Who founded it? And talk a little bit more about your origins and the goals you're trying to accomplish.
Sure. So, excuse me, 1994 on Earth Day, some like-minded people, some environmental activists got together and thought that there was space for an advocacy group in mid-Michigan to work to protect our environment. At that time, the Clean Water Act was only 20 or so years old. We were still seeing the effects of the Clean Air and Clean Water Act that were starting to make positive differences in our community. So founders were somebody that a lot of people know, Pat Lindman, who's the Ingham County Drain Commissioner, is one of our founders. Also Dave Dempsey, who I think you said you were at one of our events recently.
I was, yes.
Yeah, so you probably met Dave.
I did, yes.
Yes, he was there. He's done a series of books and he's done environmental work all over the Midwest region. So those are the people who came together to bring this organization into being.
Got it. Okay. And so Mid-Michigan is obviously in your name, so that alludes to the fact that maybe there are other chapters of the MEAC portion of your brand. Is that correct? Are you part of a larger structure, or is this wholly Mid-Michigan?
Informal, very informal. We know about each other.
Okay.
We work together sometimes. West, East, North all have different environmental action councils, and their challenges are unique.
Sure. Yeah, Detroit's different than Escanaba.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So the work we do can be different.
Sure.
But we know of each other and we try to help each other when we can.
Got it.
But honestly, all I was going to say is basically, the Mid-Michigan part is exactly what it is. We do work throughout the Tri-County region.
Okay.
So Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton County. We make sure that we can touch other people outside of Lansing. We don't want want people to think that we're only a city type of group, right?
Okay.
When we talk about environmental stewardship, that expands outside of the city limits, right?
Yep.
So how do we make sure that we can still educate and touch those outside of the natural city limits? That may not have the natural resources that we have to actually get that education or training that we would like to give to other people as well.
Sure, because in the Tri-County region, one of the reasons I love it here so much is you could live on like a gentleman farm and commute 20 minutes to the Capitol building, right? Exactly. So you do have farms, you do have really, whether it's state or county or municipality, parks are great. We've got forests. We've got,
we got a little bit of
cities.
everything.
Yeah, we really do. It's a melting pot.
It is. And I think that's one of the biggest things that helps us, or our outreach, right? We don't have to stick to what's in the urban community. We can go out and educate about our watersheds and other things that we actually promote to people outside of, the natural just city limit, individuals or populations. So,
well, let's talk about you two in particular. So you're the executive director. Yes. So you're employed by this group, right? Yes. So you shepherd all of this through as a career. And then, Ken, you're a volunteer board member?
Yes, correct.
What's your day gig?
So my day gig, I actually work for the city of Lansing as well.
Okay.
So basically what I do is I'm a hazard mitigation coordinator. I help facilitate a lot of our, we say like my hazard mitigation plan, or I help educate people on other stewardships throughout the community. So I oversee a lot of our floodplain work, right?
Okay.
As you've seen just a couple of days ago, we had some nice rain that came across the city.
Yes.
Even with that being said, when you look at the aftermath of it, a lot of our Lansing areas that get flooded really hasn't had a lot of water. So what the work that we've done over the last, we say, decade or so has actually been showing in the results, post-rain events. So as long as we keep being able to educate and get out here and touch people, people can start making their choices from themselves and then come support us through our events and through other educational classes or whatever we have to actually understand how to be better stewards themselves.
So who else makes up your kind of stakeholder group? What types of career professionals serve on your board, and what other organizations do you tend to partner with in order to make your mission go?
So we work with a lot in this, because one of our founders is Patrick Lindeman. We work a lot in the space of clean water and water protection. And we work with groups of engineers and environmental scientists who are out looking at pollutant loads in our rivers, lakes, and streams. We have a representative from an engineering firm who's the president of our organization. They do a lot of work with the drain office, and so we focus a lot on what is called low impact design and green infrastructure. These are ways that stormwater is managed where it's created, where it falls, rather than letting it just pushing it right to the river and sending it down the river and out onto Lake Michigan. So a lot of what we do is helping people to understand how these systems work, natural systems, and how we're using engineered systems to mimic those natural systems, and that comprises a lot of the components of the education that we put out there, because NOAA and other USGS, other organizations like that are interested in that kind of work and will fund that kind of work.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we dive into some of the different elements of what you do, I want to give a nod to our friends at Good Marketing. Here at Michigan Reimagine, we tell stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state, like today's guests. Today's podcast sponsor, Good Marketing, helps organizations tell those stories in powerful and measurable ways. As a behavior change accelerator, Good partners with mission-driven clients to inspire action, shift mindsets, and strengthen communities. From advancing affordable housing to protecting natural resources and expanding education and workforce opportunities, their work moves Michigan forward. See how they're helping shape Michigan's future at goodmarketing.com. That's GUD marketing.com. So we talked a lot about water, and with Pat being your founder and the existing drain commissioner for a very, very long time, I did see on the website you have climate action, air quality, land use, and water protection. Can you talk a little bit about how you work to advocate for the betterment of those, say, 4 macro, kind of project fields?
Well, I did have the honor of serving on the mayor's inaugural year of his sustainability commission here in the city, and helped to write a lot of what went in there. And some of what went in there a lot of what went in there from reflected our position, our perspective of clean water, and we have to remember that everything that happens on the land use, ends up in the water.
Yep.
So from that perspective, we're asking people to, again, look at this as a natural system. The other thing that something we can touch on briefly is we worked with the land bank to and Eagle. State of Michigan, to look at the market potential of reclaiming old growth forest wood out of our cities, because that's where it all is. All the old growth forest was used to build the cities, and as that housing ages and starts to it needs to be maybe taken down. So how can we reclaim that and not just send it out to the landfill and turn it into CO2? Right. So those are some of the initiatives that we've been working with.
Got it. Okay. And so do you require do you have like corporate sponsorships? Are you reliant on donations? Do you have a volunteer program? How does all that work in order for you to kind of host the events that you do?
We do have some corporate sponsors. Usually not. I mean, I can't say it's big dollar amounts, but we do have corporate sponsors and individuals who gift to us. We're part of the. I'm going to blank on this. The organization the foundation
Okay.
Foundation.
Community foundation?
Yeah, the
Capital
Community
Region
Foundation.
Yeah. Okay.
We're if people are interested in that, we do have some people who earmark gifts to MidMEAC through that organization. We do a lot of work with grants.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And so what does the programming look like? Because you're trying to educate the community on the importance of all of these things. So are there, there's an events calendar. I know that because I've seen it on your website.
Right.
But talk a little bit about what kinds of events you host and who is the intended audience and how frequently do they happen? Kind of walk me through some of that.
Well, we're right now in the middle of a grant-funded program from Arts Midwest National Endowment for the Arts called The Big Read.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. So normally that wouldn't seem like something that you might expect MidMEAC to be involved in, but because the theme of this one is our nature and how we can connect and create hope and healing by focusing on environmental stewardship. That's the case we were able to make to the granting organization, and because of that, we had a variety of events coming up, and great partners: Capital Area District Library, Capital City Film Festival.
Oh, nice.
Yep, Peppermint Creek Theater. So we've got you can come to our website, www.midmeac.org, and see all the events listed. Next one coming up, I should say. You were at the first one.
Yes.
The next one coming up is on April 14th at 6 o'clock, and we'll be down at the Central United Methodist Church. Mm-hmm. And that will be that'll be the LCC Capital City Film Festival combination event. And
Got it. I was going to say that's during that.
Year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just on last month and talked about it. Yeah, it's the 8th to the 18th, and so you being on the 14th,
right?
A nice conflux of good people coming together.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So the Big Read. So is there a list of things like the Big Read? Is it almost like a book club kind of a thing where there's materials that people are asked to read and then come together and share their thoughts? Sure.
Well, we chose a title. We chose two titles. One of them is Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law, and this is right. Mary Roach, who's a science writer, and she writes about. I'll try to pick something that I think everybody kind of knows about, like bears in trash.
Okay.
How do you solve this problem? And a lot of there's a different approach from essentially every community has their own way of approaching that. So that's what they mean when nature breaks the law. But what the theme of that book is that we are all living here together, and we're in their space also as much as they're in ours.
Point. Yep.
So, and as we build out, we're more in their space. We're encroaching on territory that they normally are in, and we're going to have these human wildlife conflicts.
Right. And
how do we approach them? So that's that book. And then the other book that we are focusing on is one written by one of our founders, Dave Dempsey.
Okay.
Great Lakes Fact or Fake. He's got a series of books about the Great Lakes region, and I guess I just want to hit that point just a little bit harder. Is that we live in a unique place here in the center of the Great Lakes, and we need to be taking that responsibility of caretaking seriously.
Yeah, for the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, not just for ourselves, right?
20% of the available fresh water is here in the Great Lakes.
That's important.
Right.
Can't screw that up. Not on my watch.
Well, exactly.
Let's not do that.
Exactly. No.
All right.
Get in here, Ken.
No, I mean, I'm just listening to you. You're right. I think I want to step back a little bit. You were talking to us about some events, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that even though people can contribute through the community foundation to earmark stuff towards us, we also are a 501c3. People can donate straight to us if they would like to. If they want to help see the causes expand, or they want to help, make sure the things that we're doing come to fruition still, we offer that. So when we're looking to do projects, and we were talking about events or things that we do, MidMEAC may not always host it, but we do a summer solstice every year. right? So we celebrate the summer solstice, and we make sure that we get together and do things. So MidMEAC itself has our own events, but as Theresa said, we run off grants. So since we run off grants for the majority part of our year, a lot of things that we do are making sure that we fulfill what the grant is saying fulfill. So we're not here to try to make a lot of money. We're just here to try to make impact.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing for us, is how do we impact the community to be community stewards for themselves? You know, things start at the community level.
Right.
So if we can get people more involved to want to do stuff, you know, at your home first, outside of your home, on your block, you know, that in turn will help change the community eyes or aspect or how we look at things, to eventually reach those, you know, whether we're talking about jurisdictions or our conservancy agencies or whoever it may be, to help now change the outlook of what we want to do, planning for our land, water, and air.
Right on. Good stuff. All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by the Michigan Rise Pre-Seed Fund, providing early-stage funding to Michigan-based startups. Since 2020, Michigan Rise has helped high-tech, high-growth startup companies achieve commercial and technical milestones through capital formation strategies, talent development, and customer acquisition tactics. With financing options for every stage of the entrepreneurial journey, Michigan Rise significantly increases the impact of new ideas and research. Visit www.michiganrise.com to discover how Michigan Rise can help fuel your startup's growth. Michigan Rise is supported by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and the Michigan State University Research Foundation. So Ken, you bring up a good point. You talk about kind of changing behaviors, right? Or realigning our residents' vision on what their role is in making sure that our place is clean.
Yes, safe for us.
Yeah. So do you follow any metrics? Like, are you trying to move the needle? It's like, hey, the Tri-County region scores at an 8 and we need to get it to a 12 by 2030. Like, do you have any kind of a...
I don't know if we will say we ourselves have our own metrics. Just like for the grant, we want to follow the metrics of what the grant needs us to do.
Of course,
to be successful,
that makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think a lot of our metrics that we hold or that we look at is through our partners' lenses, right? So we say we coordinate with people that have water testing or that knows the number about some of our pollutants in the water, and we try to figure out how can we do a cleaning event or a testing event to be able to support maybe some of the things that they want to do in the future. So if we have the opportunity to be the liaison or that in-between part that can do the testing for somebody else that needs some numbers, we're going to do that for them. As long as we can find the funding to be able to capitalize on said project, we would do that. I think as we look around or throughout our community, some of the partners that we work with, you know, we have a person that's involved with MidMEAC that works for another agency, but guess what they do? They plant trees.
Okay.
So as we look at what we're trying to do to help our environment out or certain areas where we're looking to bring in these, depending on, we have different age of trees, right? So when you bring in baby trees and you need to place them places to let them mature enough to then go plant them in a permanent spot, right? We've talked about and give space or ideas of where they can host and hold them as we look for where they need to be planted. And that's more so they came out with a canopy study not too long ago.
Okay.
And so when we look at a canopy study, you know, what that does for the environment and how it helps it, we try to fill the place or help give a little input of where we can help fill the place. So, you know, our metrics ourselves is basically how do we continue providing positive value and information or education to actually impact those who want to learn more about being better stewards. So I think for us, as we look at this, and look, I'm going to turn it into a call to action. We actually want to reach our younger people, right?
Right.
You know, we want to get younger people more involved in this. As you say, you may go look at some of the things that we do. You may see older people, but honestly, our youth is the future.
Yep.
So if we can get them to understand how important it is to be around this type of stuff, you know, we can get them involved to actually help them turn around and figure out these new ideas to help it be sustainable over time.
There is a lot of work to be done out there, and a lot of very good careers in this space. Engineers, environmental scientists, but there are also easy things that people can do. They, you know, some of what is being done to protect water is putting in native plants. Because this used to be a lake plain prairie,
right.
So a lot of deep-rooted prairie plants that are drought tolerant and evolved to live in this climate. And one of the things that I would like to see more of, and that I think almost any resident can engage in, and a business owner and the city, is to reduce the amount of just turf grass and put in more native plants. Shrink your lawn and put in more native plants around, and then those plants will uptake more water.
Right.
And they will stabilize soils, reduce sedimentation. It's a great win for the environment, because the pollinators that also evolved to live in this area need those plants to live as well. And then we need those pollinators because they keep our agriculture in good shape.
No
so
question.
it's a system. It
Yes.
all works together. It's a natural
does.
system, and it all works together.
Correct.
It does. Well, your website is a huge resource. And in preparation for the show, again, like I said, I got exposed to you just a couple months ago. And I just went down the rabbit hole and just clicked on all these links and kind of saw all these pictures and all the missions that you're doing. And so it's a really noble mission that you're on. And I just encourage people to get more and more involved. And you do have programs. I did see some pictures, I think, with kids kind of standing in with the wading boots on and all that kind of stuff. So there's ways for them to get their hands dirty and really learn about how things work.
Take them out to Lake Lansing and get them involved in lake science and collecting macroinvertebrates and identifying the bugs and what do they mean. Because there's a correlation of clean water for this kind of macroinvertebrate, and if you're only finding the scuds, you probably got a problem.
Correct.
So there's a lot that we can tell just at these very beginning stages of what environmental science looks like.
And we have also, we've what is it at Impression 5 when they have the little art thing. Where we displayed our watershed model.
Sure. The watershed model can go out.
And we show up where we can to be able to educate.
Right.
And like we were just talking about this watershed model we have. Kids are so, they like, ooh and ah. But at this watershed model, we can build up what it would see if your land or your land use was more impervious, then actually had things that can accept or hold water more, right? So this watershed model is one of the things that I love the most about us, is because we can go out there and affect the minds of children before they start having the ability to make their own decisions. So if we can show them, hey, listen, if I pour this water on this and you see all the cars and trees just go down river, now, how would you like that if that was your house or your tree or your plant? Versus if we could pour this and you could see the water go other places, maybe be retained or maybe trickle out in the system the right way. Now, how do you like that? So, the ability that we have to actually help people or help people understand and learn is critical.
And the youth, too. Yeah. It's like, when you see mom and dad doing this, tell them that's bad, and it's for these reasons.
And you know what? We actually get parents after, the kids come see it, but then the adults that's supervising the kids, they come look, and they're the ones asking us questions after. So we just showed the kid, and now the parent is coming back to ask us questions. How can we do better?
That model will be at Allen Neighborhood Center.
Okay.
On Earth Day.
Oh, fantastic.
So we'll be out there, and people can come and check us out there.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Anything else I've missed that you want to share before we wrap up?
Well, we do have a series of events. So, just quickly, the April 14th at the Capital City Film Festival, April 22nd and 23rd, Peppermint Creek Theater is going to be doing a staged reading at the MSU Horticultural. I have not been there for an event before, but it's going to be gorgeous. So people will want to come out. April 26th, Lansing Poet Laureate Emeritus Verlaine Stokes will be doing a poetry writing workshop at the Allen Neighborhood Center. And then May 9th, I want to hit this one pretty hard. May 9th, 12 to 2. And all of these events are free, and there's free parking. America 250, it's going to be music, storytelling, art stations. We're going to have, Pat's going to be out there. He's going to lead some tours on the Montgomery Drain. It's all going to be happening there at Red Cedar Park, Rainey Park. check it out on our website and plan to attend because it's going to be a great day.
That's awesome.
And lastly, to stay in touch, as she already talked about, MidMEAC.org, but we also have a newsletter. So even if you're not a person that wants to always jump online or always jump on the social media, go sign up for our newsletter on our website. Because at the end of the day, when we have information or we want to give you updates of what we've been doing, then we can send it out to you. So you don't always have to be chasing us. We can make sure that we come to you.
Right on. Okay. And so MidMichigan Environmental Action Council, for those of you who've been hearing this, so MidMEAC, MidMEAC.
Yes.
.org?
.org.
Got MidMEAC.org, MidMichigan Environmental Action Council. We've been speaking with the Executive Director, Theresa Lark, and a member of their Communications Committee and City of Lansing employee, Ken Hall.
Yes.
Really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. I mean, it's Earth Month. It's every day's Earth Day, but it is April of 2026 recording this, and I just thought it was the right time to have you get your message out there in a different medium, and I'm glad you joined us.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
and I'd
it.
love to give a final shout out to all of our sponsors. We've got Wagoner Financial, Good Marketing, Tritera Environmental, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise Pre-Seed Fund, Kirk Byron State Farm Insurance, and the attorneys at Foster Swift, all great people worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I'd like you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined everywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.